What if the odd things people did when nobody was looking, the things that seemed to have no explanation, were actually the brain's earliest plea for help? Research shows that more than 60% of dementia patients were seen doing strange, unexplainable acts alone, long before they were ever diagnosed. In this video, you'll discover 7 of the eeriest solo habits families later recognized as the first signs of dementia, all supported by real examples and scientific evidence. If you're new here and care deeply about early dementia detection and healthy aging, pause for a second. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. That way, you'll never miss any of our vital daily tips. We're here to support your health and the health of your loved ones. Let's get started. Number 1. Placing traps throughout the home. After her husband died, 77-year-old Amanda started arranging bizarre setups in the house. Her daughter spotted piles of canned food by the front door, foil placed under carpets, and strings stretched from the doorknob to the leg of a chair. Amanda insisted it was for protection, but if pressed for details, she would grow annoyed or quickly change topics. Her daughter dismissed it at first, thinking Amanda was simply paranoid after watching too many frightening TV shows, but it continued. One afternoon, a neighbor visiting tripped over a broom Amanda had placed across the hallway to catch trespassers. She didn't say sorry. Instead, she nearly called the police on the neighbor. Her family finally sought help that same week, and Amanda was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 79. In hindsight, they realized the signals had appeared almost 2 years earlier and felt deep regret for not seeking help sooner. Experts confirm that some dementia patients experience suspicious thinking early, especially when left alone for long periods. This can set off irrational suspicions, like believing someone is trying to get in, causing them to make odd security measures or set traps. These actions are often missed since the person hides or minimizes them until someone ends up hurt. Number 2. Spreading lotion or cream on the wrong surfaces. 3 years before he was diagnosed with vascular dementia, Liam, 72, began applying hand cream to things that seemed strange: doorknobs, table legs, even the microwave handle. When questioned, he'd say it was to keep items smooth or to stop bacteria, but his explanations didn't really make sense. His wife assumed he had picked up a weird idea online. Over time, though, things escalated. One day, she found him spreading toothpaste across the bathroom window, insisting it would block the signal. Not long after, his confusion became more obvious. When he started looking for his deceased dog in the backyard, the family decided it was time to get help, and testing confirmed what they had feared. Medical reports state that when dementia affects the brain's reasoning and impulse control areas, everyday activities like using lotion can become misapplied. The person might create odd excuses or act on strange ideas, and it often begins quietly when they're by themselves. Number 3. Storing garbage or spoiled food in secret spots. Zoe, 76, was always known for keeping her house spotless. So when her son noticed a strange odor in the guest bedroom, no one imagined what they would find. Behind a pile of folded blankets in the closet were empty food boxes, moldy bread, and a decaying banana wrapped in a napkin. When Zoe was asked about it, she appeared confused and said, "Oh, I must have left that there to clean later." Initially, her family thought she was just being absent-minded, maybe misplacing things while cleaning. But more hidden stashes appeared. Apple cores in drawers, old yogurt cups inside shoes. The turning point came when they discovered a bag of trash hidden behind the television, and she had no memory of putting it there. Her family took her in for testing that week, and Zoe was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 78. Her son now says the clues had been everywhere. They just didn't recognize them. Research shows that hoarding or hiding spoiled food is a frequent early behavior in dementia, often due to confusion, loss of smell, or anxiety about throwing things away. These actions typically start in private and get more severe over time. In many families, the signs were present, but simply hidden in plain view. If you're finding this useful, comment "alert" below and subscribe for more life-saving insights. Number 4. Staring at static or blank screens for hours. 2 years before being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, 80-year-old Alan started watching a blank TV screen late at night. No audio, no picture, just the dull shine of gray. When his wife asked about it, Alan would just get up and walk away in silence. She ignored it at first, thinking maybe he had drifted off and left the TV on, but the pattern continued. Sometimes he'd sit in front of static for hours, smiling, nodding, as if he were watching a real show. The pivotal moment came one night when the family found him clapping at the static, saying, "They did a great job tonight." That incident shook everyone. They scheduled a checkup the next day. Research indicates dementia can blur the difference between imagination and reality by affecting visual processing. A blank screen may turn into a kind of mental stage where the mind fills in images that aren't really there. This is an early symptom many families overlook until it becomes too obvious to miss. Number 5. Laughing or giggling at nothing. When Sherry turned 75, her husband started to notice something unusual. She would giggle while folding laundry or cleaning dishes, even if she was alone. When he asked what was so funny, she would just wave him away or say, "Oh, nothing, just remembering." At first, he thought she was daydreaming, but it happened more and more and started to feel strange. One day, he entered the living room and saw her laughing loudly at a blank wall. When he asked about it, she replied, "That lady in the chair just told a funny story." That was when he called her doctor. Sherry was soon diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. Her husband later said he never thought her odd laughter over the past year was something to worry about. Doctors explained that emotional misfires, like sudden laughter without an obvious cause, are common in early dementia. As the brain loses control over social cues and reality, some people start responding to things that aren't real or present. Number 6. Writing puzzling notes or warning lists. Toby's daughter once found sticky notes all over the kitchen. They read, "Don't answer the door," and "Check the shadows before bed." When questioned, Toby got upset and insisted he was simply being careful. She assumed maybe he'd been alarmed by something on the news. But the situation only got worse. One evening, she discovered a sheet of paper taped to the fridge that said, "They are coming tonight. Stay quiet." That was when she knew something serious was happening and sought medical advice. Toby was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 80, just a year after he began posting odd notes around the house. His daughter later wished she had paid more attention to those strange notes much earlier. Studies find that early paranoia, jumbled thinking, and visual mistakes can drive dementia patients to leave cryptic messages. These warnings may appear harmless or quirky at first, but they often point to a bigger decline in reasoning and memory. Number 7. Moving furniture at night. Billy, 69, began waking up at odd hours and quietly shifting things around her house. Her son would visit in the morning and find dining chairs pushed against the door or the coffee table turned sideways, blocking the hallway. When asked, Billy said she was just making space or trying something new. She assumed it was just restlessness or trouble sleeping and didn't think it mattered. Then something even more unusual happened. One night, a neighbor called at 3 a.m. after spotting Billy outside dragging patio furniture into the street. When her family talked to her, she became defensive and seemed lost. They called the doctor that morning. Billy was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. Looking back, the family saw her odd routines had started almost a year and a half earlier, but it didn't seem serious until it turned risky. Research shows that spatial disorientation and disturbed sleep patterns are early indicators of dementia, especially Lewy body dementia. Moving furniture or building obstacles can be a subconscious reaction to fear, confusion, or feeling lost, often late at night when alone. If you've noticed these behaviors in someone close to you, don't ignore them. The sooner you act, the better you can protect their mind and their future. If you found this helpful, pause for a second and hit subscribe for more easy, life-changing health tips. We love hearing from you, or share your own experience. Your comments truly inspire us to keep creating these healthy tips. Plus, don't forget to share this video with someone you care about.